there, Casey Healey, Director here at Century 21, Newcastle Street in Newcastle, back with Nick Ball from Inovayt Finance.
Thanks for having me, Casey.
Thanks for coming back in this 2022 year. Happy New Year.
It's gone very quickly. We're nearly in February, I think, aren't we?
Yeah. So, our January end of month finance video. So, Nick comes in and we have a quick chat about what's happening in that finance space to keep you up to date so you can make informed decisions, re mortgages, refinancing and possibly purchasing other properties. So, Nick, how is the market?
It's still booming.
It is booming, isn't it?
It has not slowed down. I haven't seen it if it has.
Yeah.
I think, potentially from people showing up to open homes and things, that might have changed.
Changed a little bit. Yeah.
From the activity that we're seeing across the board, yeah, still booming.
Yeah. And predominantly interest rates, lots of talk, lots of media about it.
Yeah.
They're on the rise.
I guess, yeah, it's the elephant in the room, and the two things that have been spoken about at the moment are inflation and interest rates. Inflation, the easiest way, as we always say, to look at it is what's happening with fuel prices. They've gone up, up, up. So the way to counteract inflation is generally interest rates will lift. So yeah, there's heaps to talk about that in the last 2 weeks, and a lot of revision from bank economists saying that rather than it being mid-2023 rates lift, that it's going to be end of 2022. We have no idea.
Yeah.
No one, the RBA hasn't really commented yet. So
and they haven't lifted any rates or anything like that, they're still holding.
They'll sit next month and I think we'll get a little bit more clarity about whether they feel that the inflation is real or if it's just a time and a place sort of thing that's going on due to COVID.
Yep.
And I think we'll get some more guidance on where we are actually heading.
Lending. Investors, they seem to be back in the market a little bit.
The last 3 to 6 months, we've started to see a lot more investors, but particularly the last 3 months.
Yeah.
A lot more. I think, it's a combination of equity. They've realised how much equity they've had in property, so they don't even need a deposit. They're able to.
How long have we been telling people this?
I know, it's crazy, like the things I've shown people, particularly in the last few weeks, like, oh wow, I can actually do this. I'm like, yeah, you can. Borrowing capacity, very strong. And I think people are realising how good property assets are.
Yeah.
In terms of volatility, the share market's starting to play up a little bit at the moment from what we're seeing, given global uncertainties and whatnot. Whereas property is
pretty stable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes in cycles, but it's a pretty stable investment.
And as you know, rental yields are quite good.
That's right. We actually have, Nick and I worked on a case together where a landlord had a property, purchased it about 18 months ago, and there was good growth within that market and was actually able to purchase a second property from the growth of this one property. So there's definitely ways of doing it. You've just got to have the conversation to get the ball rolling. So to fund a second property off the growth of one property without actually paying a deposit, what more can you ask for?
Yeah, exactly. And when you're playing a long-term game and you think about, okay, I'm going to retire in 20, 30 years, whatever it is, you're going to know that you're going to have those assets.
That's right. And by that stage, those assets would have been paid off and have majorly been paid by the tenant or by paying rent. So rental income.
Yeah, it's just another form of getting ready for what your life you want it to look like once you don't have to work.
Yeah, it's those investment goals that we're here to help and understand and work with you to achieve.
Absolutely.
Let's talk buying off the plan. Obviously, we've listed this development, Newcastle West, Aurora. Yeah. Got the words mixed up there. Aurora development. It's a beautiful development down at Newcastle West. Now, I wanted to chat deposit. So obviously we exchange, we pay 10% deposit. Pre-approval and funding on that, knowing that there's a construction period of say 2 years, what happens with pre-approval? Do you get pre-approval? How do you fund these type of off-the-plan purchases?
Absolutely. So typically we don't do a pre-approval up front. So typically we do a health check.
Yep.
So we look at the income, deposit, what your situation is as at now. If it all looks good, then we'll continually do 6 monthly check-ins to make sure we stay on track.
Yep.
If there's things that need to move and shake, so to speak, then we'll put plans in place to repay this debt, do this, so that by the time construction's complete, you're in a position that finance isn't going to be an issue. Generally, we don't actually do the pre-approval until 3 to 6 months out from proposed settlement.
Yeah, because it doesn't last for the period of 2 years.
No, and all it's really doing is continually hitting your credit file, and the bank that you apply with today is highly unlikely to be the bank that you use in 2 years' time, given rates, policies. The financial landscape changes every 6 months, so it wouldn't be in your best interest to stick with one bank now when there's probably going to be a better deal down the track.
And the deposit, say the 10% deposit, How is that best funded? Is it 9 times out of 10 paid by the purchaser? Do they need that 10% deposit, or can they fund it other ways?
So generally speaking, yeah, put down that 10% deposit. Some of the plans, and I haven't seen this contract yet, do allow for deposit bonds. So that's where you don't actually have to put in any cash. You're paying, it's basically like an insurance fee to have that deposit bond issued, so that they know that if anything was to go bad, your deposit is there. That can work, just depends on, you know, if you're going to use equity down the track, you might want to use your cash. That's potentially something that can happen. It can be quite expensive. But
I was going to say, is it costly?
Yeah, it can be, particularly for off the plans. Off the plans a little bit different. A lot of people have used deposit bonds to purchase established homes.
Yep.
But when it's only a 30 to 60 day time period that the the deposit bond provider is honouring something for, it's not a big risk. Yeah. 18, 24 months. It's different situation. So I really just encourage people to weigh that up, because the other thing that generally happens with off the plan is that your deposit is held in trust and there is interest accrued. So there's that way you're not getting as much money as maybe you would personally.
But you can have that deposit invested and still return. I think it's a 50% deposit, 50% share of the interest on that. I think it usually gets split between vendor or purchaser.
Absolutely, and I think, but to answer the question really is, so that deposit goes down in the front. Does it need to be used when you actually fund the property? Maybe not. Because as we discussed last night, the open night, the valuation will be based on market value at that time, because the contract will be older than 12 months. So the valuer won't look at the contract. He'll look at the contract to get the detail.
For the purchase price, but won't actually value at that.
No, because it's too far in the past, so they'll value it at market. So hopefully, things
all goes to plan. That's the way buying off the plan. How you can make some money, some quick money, is the growth of the capital growth in the property.
Yeah, so you can potentially get that 10% back and then go and do it again.
All right, well that's our finance update for end of January. If you've got questions in relation to your loans, if you haven't reviewed your loan recently, if you're looking to buy off the plan, please don't hesitate to reach out to Nick Ball from Inovayt Finance. His details will be in this video. You can DM him, you can contact him on his mobile or shoot him through an email, or get in contact with me and I'll put you in contact with Nick. We're here to help, we're here to work with you on your investment goals to secure your financial freedom through property. We look forward to talking with you soon.